Hello, thank you for joining me for our thought for the day today. I wonder, what would your answer be if someone asked you who Jesus is? Perhaps you might say that you're not quite sure, that you haven't really had time to think about it or find out enough information. Or perhaps you think he was an important religious teacher living 2,000 years ago who founded Christianity. There are many different beliefs and ideas about Jesus, and even during his lifetime on earth, people had to work out what they thought they believed about him. And amongst them was someone who I've always identified with a little bit, because he was said to be quite short. I know what it's like when something interesting is going on and all you can see is the backs of other people. This man's story is coming to us in Luke's Gospel in the Bible. His name was Zacchaeus, and we are told that he wanted to see who Jesus was. Jesus was coming to his town, to Jericho, and at that time Jesus was already something like a celebrity. That's why lots of people came out onto the streets to have a glance at him. Zacchaeus was clever. He didn't want to miss out on this event, so he ran ahead down the street where Jesus was walking along, and he climbed a tree. Now, that is something I've never learned to do, but I admire Zacchaeus for another reason as well. So many things could have put him off wanting to see Jesus that day, but he went out anyway. For one thing, the crowd didn't put him off, and also his job didn't put him off. He worked in a senior position for the inland revenue. He was probably a very busy man with people working under him, lots of responsibility. Do you feel your life has become busier again after lockdown? I certainly do, with the children back in school and all the other things that have started again. Many things are important to us: our jobs and careers, schoolwork, family, friends, hobbies. The big questions about life and its meaning, about God and Jesus, can so easily be pushed into the background by it all, like an unopened message on our email account that gets pushed down and is never read. Zacchaeus made time in his busy day to see Jesus. Another thing that could have put him off was the type of job he was doing. Perhaps tax people even today do not have the most popular profession in our society, but that is nothing compared to Jesus' time. Because they worked for the Roman occupiers, the Jews saw tax people as traitors. They were hated because they usually overcharged people and made a fortune through that. Zacchaeus would have been seen as a really bad person, and he would have probably felt like one too. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but at the same time, he would have probably expected that Jesus wouldn't want anything to do with him or come anywhere near him. And another thing was Zacchaeus' wealth. If you have a comfortable life, if you can buy all you want or all you need, and a rainy day isn't really too much of a problem for you, you might not feel the need to think about the big questions in life. It's in a crisis when we remember to pray, to ask God, if you're really there, can you help me please? I believe God loves it when we reach out to him. He doesn't mind if we haven't talked to him for 20 years. As long as we talk to him today. And he probably worries about us when we are so comfortable in our life that we forget all about him. Despite his wealth, Zacchaeus felt a need to find out who Jesus was. And Jesus? What did he do as he came near the spot where Zacchaeus was sitting on his tree? There's a huge crowd around him, but he notices the little man up there. He has time to stop and talk to him. He somehow knows his name, even though the two of them would probably never have met before. And he says, "Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today." And this is what the taxman does. He comes down at once and welcomes him into his home. I wonder how you would have felt. A bit panicky, perhaps? A celebrity preacher inviting himself into your home? Would it be tidy enough? Would you know how to make conversation? These things would definitely be on my mind. Would you have liked to be noticed and talked to? Or would you have rather stayed on the fence and watched Jesus from a distance? Zacchaeus would have had enough reason to rather stay up his tree or on the fence, so to speak. He could have said, "I'm not good enough to have Jesus in my home." He could have asked Jesus to move on and go to someone else's place. The story tells us that this is exactly what the people in the crowd thought. And Zacchaeus would have known this and felt this intensely. But he doesn't give in to that pressure of what other people think. Instead, he welcomes Jesus into his home and into his life, and his life is changed. I would have expected that Jesus would now talk to Zacchaeus and tell him off for his bad ways. But that doesn't seem necessary. Jesus has offered friendship to Zacchaeus. He has picked him out from amongst the crowd. He knows his name. He's giving him his time. With Jesus so close, Zacchaeus himself feels he needs to change. He promises to give half his wealth to the poor and also to pay back the people that he's taken advantage of 4 times as much as he owes them. It is like the light has been switched on in a dark room, and Zacchaeus feels he needs to clean and to tidy up, and his life will all be better for it. There are moments of opportunity in our lives when we need to make a decision. I'm struck by the urgency in Jesus' voice when he says, "Come down immediately. I must stay at your house today." I wonder, how will you respond?